Hey, what's up YouTube? In this video, I'll be showing you how to make the Octopod from the show Octonauts. If you enjoy this video, all I ask is that you please hit that like button, as it really helps me and the channel out loads and loads, and maybe even leave a suggestion. I want to know what you guys want to see next. But without any further ado, let's get started. Okay, so to make the Octopod, we need about an 11 block by an 11 block area on the ground. However, this build does get wider as it gets taller. This is just the ground space. We also need all of these materials that I have in my inventory right now. I can't promise you that we won't need more. I apparently have a memory condition and I always forget something every single time, so I do apologize if we have to grab more. So make sure that you have all of these things right here, make sure you got enough room, and we can begin. So I would highly recommend building this in your world, this grid, if you do want to better plan out your build. And if you do, you want to start on the front left hand corner of your grid and count right by 1, 2, 3 and 4, and then count inwards by 1, 2 and 3. That way, if you did build this grid, we're starting in the same place is pretty much what we've just achieved. Begin by placing a dark grey concrete, and place up left diagonally of that concrete another dark grey. Go up by 2, 1, 2, do an up right diagonal, right by 2, 1, 2, bottom right diagonal, down by 2, bottom left diagonal, and left of this diagonal, place an acacia door like this. What we then want to do is on top of all of these grey concretes, add an additional 6 grey on top of each. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And bear in mind that you do also want to fill in above the door using your acacia as well. So simply make sure that every single one of these rows of grey, of which there are quite a few, about 12 or so in total, you want to make them all about as high as each other. So just go all the way around and make sure that they are all the same height. Now, once you have done that, we have to make the tentacles that surround the Octopod. So grabbing your light grey concrete, you want to do this. You want to locate on each one of the 4 sides of the Octopod, you want to take these blocks. So you want to take this block and this block on each one of the 4 sides, and you want to place a light grey concrete coming out of each one of these blocks. So on the front, for instance, on these sides, this one and this one block off the ground on the left and right of your particular side, you want to place a light grey concrete coming out of each one of these particular blocks, like so. And there's a reason for this. We then want to take those blocks and you want to extend them 1 row towards you, 1 row down, and 1 row outwards, like that, on each one of the sides. So remember, it's quite easy. 1 row towards you, 1 row down, 1 row towards you, on each one of the 4 sides. And these are basically going to be the bottom of the tentacles. I kind of think of these as the foot of the Octopod, or the feet of the Octopod, I should say. So that's what we want to have. We then want to take the original light grey blocks and we want to extend them upwards. And we want to extend them as high as the grey concrete that is behind them. On each one of the 4 sides, by the way. So take the originals, raise them all up, and these are going to be the legs, the tentacles, that the Octopod sits upon. So it's quite important that we get this right. We want to have something which should look like that, which looks fine and all, but we do want to do a little something else. Grab the item frame, and at the top of all of these legs, you want to place an item frame. So simply going all the way around, place an item frame at the very top block in front of the light grey concretes up at the top of the build, like this. Then, leaving a gap coming downwards, we want to leave a gap of 1, and then we want to place another row of these item frames in front of the tentacles, in front of the legs, whatever you want to call them, we want to place item frames all the way around. And then leaving another gap, just one row, you want to do the same thing again. So in total, there wants to be 3 rows. And these are quite important. So what these item frames are, they allow us to add a little bit more of a texture to the build, because we then want to place light blue concrete inside every single item frame. So that is what we're going to be doing. In the original, these are more so kind of like lights. They kind of look like big giant bubbles. However, in this version right here, in Minecraft, I have opted to use an item frame with a block inside of them. I do believe that sea lanterns could also possibly work. So perhaps you want to use sea lanterns instead of the light blue. It's just that, I mean, you know, use whichever you like. However, I like the light blue because it provides a greater contrast against the surrounding colour, in my opinion. But sea lanterns also work too, and they're a little closer, I would say, probably to the original. So that's what we want to have so far. That's pretty cool. So now, grab the orange concrete. And we want to come to the top front of the Octopod. I almost said Octopod. I don't even know what that is. We want to place orange concrete on top of the 2 tentacles at the front of the Octopod, like this. On top of the front 2 pair. And then we want to connect them together in the middle, like that. We then want to extend this row of orange concrete. We want to extend it left by 2, 1, 2, and also right by 2. 1, 2, just like that. We then want to take the right side and we want to place 2 up right diagonal orange concretes coming up. So that's 1 up to the right and then 2 up to the right. Then place 4 orange concrete on top. 1, 2, 3, 4. Like that. Do the same on the opposite side. So on this opposite side, we want to place 2 up left diagonals, like 1, 2, and then up by 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just like this. We now have to add shape to this build. So we want to take this shape right here, and if you start all the way up at the top left hand side, you want to place an orange concrete in front of and to the right of the top of the left hand side of the build. And take the orange concrete and extend it down, right, down, right, up, right, and up. Now, what I have essentially done there, and I want you guys to do the same, is I have just went around the inside of the shape that we have just made using the orange concrete, just like that. So connecting together at the corners, very, very important stuff. Connect together at the corners and go around the inside of the shape that you've just made using your orange concrete. Okay, what we now want to do is in front of the bottom middle of this row. So this row right here, you want to, in front of this block, place an orange terracotta in front of that block. You then want to place an orange terracotta up left diagonally and up right diagonally like this. You also want to place a block in between these 2 blocks, just set behind like that. Like a grey block is just fine. We then want to extend the orange terracottas left and right by 1 using orange concrete. And place orange concrete on top of the orange terracotta, on top of the empty space, and on top of the orange concrete again, like this. You then want to extend the orange concrete left 1 and right 1, like so. And then on top of this, going from left to right, place 2 glass, 1, 2, and then 3 orange concrete, 1, 2, 3, 2 glass, like that. We then, for the next row, want to do the same thing, add glass where there is glass, and orange where there is orange. And then fill on top of this in using your orange concrete, like this. So that's looking pretty good. Now, behind the eyes, we kind of want to add a bit of a pattern here. You want to place a sea lantern in the top corners of the eyes, outwards, and then light blue concrete around all of these sea lanterns like this. So from the outside, you get a really cool, yeah, there we go, that's cool. You get a nice pair of eyes. Now, once you have done that, we want to grab the orange concrete and we want to take the outer part of the head, all of these outer orange concretes, and we want to extend the concretes backwards. And we want to extend them backwards as far as where we have the light grey concrete on the back of the build, right here. So you can see on the front of the build, that's kind of where we started the face area. Well, it's the same thing on the back. It comes as far back as the tentacles, the top of the tentacles, the top of the feet, however you want to say it. And we want to extend all of the orange that far back. And hopefully it shouldn't be too much of a, hopefully it shouldn't be too difficult to do whatsoever. And then we can fill in the back of the head, which is actually a lot easier than the front because there's no features on the back of the head. It just involves playing a game I like to call Snake, and I'll show you what I mean by that. So once you've extended all of the orange backwards, we now want to start on the top left-hand corner, and in front of the top left-hand corner, in front of and to the right of this block, we want to, you guys remember the old game, right? You want to use your orange concrete and you want to go around the inside of the shape, connecting together at the corners. You don't want to go back on yourself or anything like that. You just want to connect together at the corners like this and just trace along the inside of the shape very carefully. Same thing we did on the front. That's why I like to call this Snake. It's the same sort of principle. You just go around, you're connecting together a line following a shape. And then all we have to do to fill the back of this in is we just want to place a row of orange concrete inside of and one row outwards from the empty space, and it wants to fit like a jigsaw piece. So if you're doing a jigsaw puzzle, you want to make sure that you've got the right shape, the right size, in the right place, and that's all we're doing there. We just want to fill in all of the empty space using your orange concrete, very much like that. That's pretty much it. I don't think that there's actually anything else to it whatsoever. So once you have got that sorted out, ladies and gentlemen, we can move on to the next part. So the next part involves us using our grey concrete, and we want to place a row of grey concrete, not light grey, dark grey concrete at the top of the head, going all the way around like this. So just add a layer on top of the pre-existing layer of orange. Then add a layer of light blue stained glass on top of this. So on top of all the grey, just add a layer of glass like this. Going all the way around, like that. Now, what we want to do is we want to place a row of glass that is one row up and above the inside of the head like this. So it's one row up, one row inside of the head. It doesn't want to connect together at the corners at all. We just want to have this shape right here. So you can see exactly what I'm doing now. We just want to connect it all the way up at the top like this. I'm actually considering right now kind of connecting it together in the corners like this. I'm going to connect it together in the corners like this, okay? Using the light blue glass. I'm actually going to connect it together in the corners, and then I'm going to add a layer of orange concrete that sits one row above and inside of the empty space that we have up at the top of the head. And you know what? I think that the orange is also going to connect together as well in the corners too. So, you know, just kind of how we've done quite a few times already. This is what we want to have up at the top of the head. Make sure the light blue glass is connected, and then connect all of the orange concrete too at the top of the head. The next thing is we want to once again place a row of orange concrete above the empty space that we have at the top here. Again, just make sure that it is the perfect shape. Just fill in the empty space like this. You don't want to have a weird shape. You don't want to fill in anywhere that you don't have to. And you'll end up with something that should look exactly like that. And that's perfection. So from the bottom, from the front, yeah, that's perfect. That is exactly what we're after, ladies and gents. That is exactly what we're after. That is the perfect shape for the Octopod so far. Okay, next part. So the Octopod, I keep calling it an Octopod. The Octopod has 4 pods circled around itself. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to make the arms or the tentacle, whatever you want to call it. It really doesn't matter, does it? So you want to locate specifically this block right here on the Octopod. Alright, you want to locate this block right here, or, yeah, is that the block? Yeah, it is. You want to locate this block. And in front of, and to the left of that block diagonally, so to show you, like, underneath it, like, it just slots in between these two blocks right here, you want to place a light grey concrete in that position. It's specifically that one. And then left of that, place a grey concrete. And in front of that, place a light grey. Left of that, place a grey concrete. Then a light grey. Then a dark grey. Then on top, a light grey. Left, a grey. On top, a light grey. Left, a grey. On top, a light grey. So what we will end up with is something that should look exactly like this. Okay? And this is what we want to do from here. This is what all of the pods are going to look like. So on top of the light grey, we want to place an orange. And place a row of orange all the way around that orange, like this. So all the way around it, place a layer of orange. Then, you want to place a row of orange in front of the orange, like in front of the front side, in front of the left side, in front of the original 3 at the back, and right of the original 3 orange at the right. So does that make sense? Like we started off with this one in the middle, all the way around it, and then we extended each one of the sides like this, and we didn't connect together at the corners. But we now want to, around this, one row above, and outside of the shape that we've made, we want to place a layer of orange concrete that sits one row above and outside of the shape that we have made at the end of the tentacle. So it just wants to go around like this. You guys can see exactly what I'm on about. We want to have this shape, which is perfect. And on top of this, we want to stack a layer of light blue glass, just like this. So on top, a layer of light blue glass. And then what we then want to do is we want to use our light blue glass, and we want to place a row of light blue glass that is one row above and inwards in relation to the layer of light blue glass that we have placed earlier. It does not want to connect together at the corners. We then want to place a layer of orange concrete that sits above and inside of that space like this. And that is one of the pods. I'm hoping that was quite straightforward to do. Because if it wasn't, well, at least you got plenty of time to practice, because we've got to do that 3 more times, basically. Alright, so once you've done that first pod, let's do the opposite pod. So the one on the front will do the other one. You want to locate this block here on the front right-hand side of the build. And in front of and to the right of that, you want to place a light grey concrete. So once again, just to kind of show you, right there. And then right of that, we want to place a grey concrete. In front of that, a light grey. Right of that, a grey. Then a light grey. Grey. On top of that, a light grey. Right of that, a grey. Then a light grey on top. Grey to the right. Light grey on top. Place an orange concrete on top of that. And go all the way around it to create a square, a 3x3 square. You then want to take each one of the 4 sides and extend the 3 blocks in the middle towards you, carefully not connecting them together in the corners. You then want to place a layer of orange concrete above and around the outside of the bottom of the pod, like this. So above and outside of the bottom of the pod, place a layer of orange concrete. Place a layer of light blue glass on top of the orange concrete. Place a layer of light blue glass above and inside of the empty space left at the top of the pod. Like that. Then cover up said empty space using orange concrete, like so. So now we have a pair of pods at the front of the build, which look great. I think that this looks absolutely awesome. We're missing 2 pods though. So let's come to the back of the build, and we're literally doing the exact same thing. So I do apologize, I might go a little bit faster this time, but we've got the same thing to do as we've done a few times already. So on the position on the back, we want to take this block, and you want to place a light grey concrete in front of and to the right of it, moving outwards. And then going right of this block, we want to place a dark grey concrete, in front of it a light grey concrete, right of it a dark grey, light grey, dark grey, on top a light grey, right of it a dark grey, then on top of it a light grey, dark grey next to it, light grey on top. Place an orange concrete on top of that, and place orange concrete around the outside of this to create a square. Place orange concrete 1 row. I almost did that wrong. I had to back off. I had to tell myself to back off there. We then want to place orange concrete coming outwards from each one of the 4 original sides. So only extending the 4 blocks like this, we want to place the orange concrete. We then want to place a layer of orange concrete that is 1 row above and outside of the orange concrete that we just made. So yeah, there we go. I almost skipped a step there. Easy to do. We want to place a layer of orange concrete going all the way around the top of the outside like this. Then place light blue glass on top of the orange concrete. Then place a layer of glass above and inside of the layer of glass that we had at the top of the pods previously, like so. We then want to place a layer of orange concrete above and inside of the empty space like this, creating our 3rd pod. So from the front, it looks quite good. It really does look good, and it looks a little bit lower because, of course, you know, we're looking from the front to back. So it really does create a nice... It looks great, this build. I'm so happy with it. I hope you guys are too. Let's move on to the final pod before I keep patting myself on the back. So what we now need to do is locate this block right here on the back corner of the build. You guys know this block. Is this one right here? In front of and to the left of this block... Actually, I'm so silly. We want to locate this block here. This is the one with the 2 orange concretes like diagonally. And we want to left and in front of this block place a light grey concrete. You guys know this is the right position here. And then left of this, place a dark grey. In front of a light grey. Left of it a dark grey. Light grey. Dark grey. On top of it a light grey. Left a dark grey. On top light grey, left a dark grey, on top a light grey. Then place an orange concrete on top and go all the way around it to create a 3x3 square of orange concrete. Then extend all of the 3 original sides towards you by 1 row, so just as I'm doing now. Then 1 row above and outside of the bottom of the pod that we have just created, we're going to place another layer of orange concrete. So kind of creating a circle around the top of the base of the pod that we have right here. Cool. Then place a layer of light blue glass on top of the orange concrete going all the way around the base. Then place a layer of light blue glass 1 row above and inside of the pod that you have just created. And after this step, we've only got 1 more thing to do, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very happy about that. So we just have to place that layer of glass, and then finally fill in the top using your orange concrete, filling it in like a jigsaw puzzle like that, and we will end up with something that should look exactly like this. Perfection. So this is what your Octopod should look like once it has been 100% fully completed. All I've done there is just taken away the grid and the numbers, by the way, just so that we can have a much better look at this thing without all of that stuff obstructing it. I hope that you guys are as happy with this as I am. And if you are, please do remember to hit that like button. I'd really appreciate that. It helps me and the channel out immensely. I'd really appreciate it. If you're new around here and you want to see more stuff like this, consider subscribing and clicking the little bell next to the subscription button to ensure that you get all of my stuff sent directly to your sub box. If you have any suggestions, leave them below in the comment section. I'd love to see what you guys want to make. I really would. Why do you think this got built? Because somebody requested it, and I'd love to see more on the channel. I want to know what you guys want to see. If you want to make anything else by me, and trust me, there is a massive amount of stuff in a massive amount of... what should I say? A variance. There's so many different things in so many different styles that I've made, ranging from cartoon houses, suburban houses, survival houses, modern houses, just insane amount of stuff, guys. Check out the card system and the description below. You won't regret it. There's so many things to make if you're interested. I have so many tutorials of so many cool things. I'd highly recommend checking out card system description below. And that is pretty much everything, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate every one of you so much. I really would appreciate both those likes and a suggestion. That's the two most important things, if you guys don't mind. I really want to know what you guys want to see, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Thank you so much, guys. Goodbye!